straight from Boston. It's Founder Thought, the show that has everything from advice, ideas, and inspiration from founders and business owners that made it all happen.
On this episode, Stefanie and Oz speak with Emma Guardia, a real estate agent in Cambridge, Massachusetts. They discuss her business partnership, the inspirations that drive her, and what she does to stand out in a saturated market.
So thank you guys for joining. Today we're here with Emma Guardia from Emma Guardia Real Estate. So Emma, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a Cambridge resident. Boston is my place to be. I love living here, and clearly I love selling property in this neighborhood. I have no intention to leave. I grew up actually in a farming agriculture town, which is very different to living in the city now. But I think I really enjoyed as a kid growing up in the outdoors, having those environments. And now I've transitioned into a very urban area, which is really exciting. A very different change.
Where did you grow up? What area?
I grew up in Rainham, Massachusetts, which is generally known, people know it for the flea market or the dog track. It's either or. But so we actually grew up on a potato farm. I had an Appaloosa horse when I was little.
Oh, amazing. I love horses.
My parents, even though we were a very working class family, my parents spoiled us between private soccer leagues and having a horse. I mean, who grows up having a horse? I mean, we were definitely spoiled.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, wow.
Great. So tell us a little bit about how you got into real estate.
Well, I started real estate in the South Shore just about probably 9 years ago now, and I was quite young. When I was 23, my work ethic has always been really hard. I've always been committed and put all of my energy into whatever work I was doing, and it was actually part contributed to my partner that I was dating at that time, who had owned a lot of investments, and I realized that it was a great way to streamline some extra income. So I saved for about 2 years and got an FHA loan, which was 2% down. You know, it was very minimal down payment, which was a really easy way to get into buying property. And it was a 3-family. So through that process, I had a really great experience with my agent. And that sparked my interest in getting to know real estate more as being a landlord and landlord-tenant rights, all of that information. So I went and got my license. I joined Coldwell Banker, and I was with them for quite a long time, but now I'm with Compass. They were my second brokerage that I joined. I moved up to Cambridge in 2017, so I've been doing business here since.
So now we start in 23. 23, it's very hard age to start a business or to get involved. So what do you learn in 23?
Being a landlord is hard. It's not as easy as people expect. You know, I had it in, I think, the winter of 2015, which was a horrible year. We had ice dams, gutters fall off.
Oh my goodness.
I had the fire department at my house
show.
within the first, 6 months of ownership.
Yeah.
And I learned that my house was on top of a river, which was so fun because my basement flooded every spring.
Oh my goodness.
They were like, your house is under the Taunton River or above the Taunton River. So there were so many challenges. I ended up jumping into a basement filled with water with a live electrical running wire underneath the ground, which I had no idea of until after the fact. Luckily, hey, I'm still here. I didn't get electrocuted. But there were a lot of incidents that made me, part of my biggest thing was that I cared so much. So I always wanted my tenants to have a good experience. By doing that, it almost exhausted me because I constantly was thinking about how can I better this situation. And I learned a lot about, I was threatened someone was going to sue me. At 23 years old, that's a huge fear. I've had to deal with constables and evictions and that whole entire process, which was completely new to me. And it was really scary to be that young and dealing with tenants who were, 15 years older than me and kind of trying to, show my stature and confidence that I was the one who was in control.
Yeah.
So now if you go back, what's something you will do different from what you learned so far? If you go back for that 20, you say, you know what, I should not do this. Or do you will do it again?
I did it again because I am a landlord again. I have an investment property in Cambridge. And it was primarily, I renovated it to live in it and then decided to actually purchase something with my partner. So we're renovating that now. I rented it out and I have lovely tenants. They're both architects, so that makes me feel good that I did a good job with my renovation. So I've had that for over a year. I've definitely learned ways to ease the process of being a landlord by preparing for things before they become a problem.
Yeah.
But even with that, I've had issues. When I was in the construction process of that condo, the contractor that I hired accidentally didn't shut the water off to the stack in my building, and it caused a flooding in the basement. And in that moment, again, another very stressful situation. Luckily, he had insurance and we were able to sort through it. But there's always going to be incidents where I think you have to just manage your emotions and say, no one's injured here, no one's hurt. We can find a solution.
Amazing.
So now you jump into real estate. Yes, you are in real estate right now.
I'm still in real estate.
Yeah, so you jump in real estate, you have your agency. Now, because I want to go back for the 23, you said something where you're working with people, older lady. Now, for female to be in real estate, what's the challenges? Do you have any challenges?
In general, I actually feel by demographic of what I've experienced for realtors, there are more females in real estate than there are males. It's one of those, and I'm not saying one is better than the other, but it's an interesting thing compared to other industries that I think it's a job that enables women to be social as they are and to really get to know their community better. Where do you find businesses where when you have a child, you can actually prosper because you're building a community of people that you work in as well? So there's a really great way to be able to transition and know, I want to do this. And no matter what changes in my lifestyle, I can continue to prosper in my business. Now, I don't have children, so I don't know that experience fully, but I've seen many very successful women who are in my firm who have multiple children and are still extremely successful. That also
That's amazing.
goes into having a good work ethic, but I think also in some ways that can help their business too.
I would imagine. Yeah. And I mean, just in business in general, obviously I'm a business owner myself, and I don't have kids as well. And it's very challenging right now just with my time that I spend in the business and working, building the business and in the business. I can't even imagine like adding in children into the mix with the amount of hours that I work and the amount of time I invest into the business now. So it's interesting to know that there are industries out there that do help sort of support women and support, that sort of lifestyle where you can have flexibility and have kids, and it helps actually increase and grow your business. So that's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's really nice. And that's one of the luxuries of owning a business. But I think a lot of people have a perception that this business is easy, but it has a lot of challenges too.
Yeah.
The
I
real
would imagine.
estate?
With real estate.
Yeah, so what's the challenge you face?
Well, breaking into a market specifically like Cambridge is really hard because it's a small market and it is it's a competitive market, and there's, a percentile of agents that I can tell you that hold generally all of the market share. And coming into it also, as I was young, and I was able to luckily find a mentor who saw my work ethic, which was unlike most. I mean, I was living in Easton for 2 years and was commuting up here every day and would work from 8 to 6 p.m. and then drive home. That was until I realized that I liked the location and I officially moved up here. But there was a lot of challenging in commutes. And then in general, you're commuting to your office, but then your office is on wheels. So you're commuting.
You're just commuting all day.
Again.
Yeah, you're commuting all day.
It made it a challenge because I didn't know what my schedule was going to look like. All I knew is that I had a goal in mind. I remember when I was in Easton, I put a map of Cambridge. My office had this really cool map of the entire city outlined. And I said, I'm going to work in this office and I'm going to do my business in like this entire vicinity.
Yeah.
And I mapped it out. I tried to figure out what location I wanted to be in, and I ended up in West Cambridge. And from there, I just worked really hard and I think after a few years, I became very successful, but it came with a lot of sacrifices. Mostly I started in leasing, and those transitioned into buyers.
Mm-hmm.
And in general, the purchase of my 3-family really helped, because when I sold that, it gave me the cushion to
Mm-hmm.
be able to take the risk of being not insured,
Mm-hmm.
not having a general income of a weekly pay stub, having zero money. And then even if you do have a sale, which is rare in your
Mm-hmm.
first 6 months potentially,
Mm-hmm.
then you have to wait another 90 days to get that check.
Yeah.
So I had a cushion and was kind of conservative about how I was going to make the decision to move up here or transition to a city.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, people have welcomed me now, and there have been a lot of great people who have helped me along the way, including my business partner, who saw me and said, this person has a different drive. I think she would be a great asset for me. And we've been working together now for over 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
and people are surprised by it because our age difference is so significant,
Mm-hmm.
but we bring this synergy and this really cool energy that we can speak to every age, which is really helpful.
That's great. So who is your, I wanted to ask about your mentor, because you mentioned your mentor. Who is your mentor, or who have mentored you along the way?
My business partner was probably a huge mentor to me, because he knew the market. He knew every street,
Mm-hmm.
like it was on the back of his hand. He just knew. He was so knowledgeable in it, and he had been working for 30 plus years in that specific market.
Yeah.
So to have that information really was able to expedite the process of me learning so much through him, because I got market knowledge that the general person would have to learn over a long course of time.
Yeah.
That he was able to pass on to me.
Amazing.
So I want to jump for something you said. You said you put the map and you put like the action. Oh, it sounds for me like you put a goal. So this was your goal. So how you think goals help you achieve what you're trying to achieve? Because it sounds for me this is it, you put a goal. I want to work in this place. This is the location I'm gonna target. So how does the goal help you to achieve what you want to achieve?
Well, the map served a lot of purposes. It served a purpose of me understanding the main arteries of the city.
Sure.
So Cambridge is unique in that, just like Boston, 4 or 5 blocks can really change the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone says they want to be in mid Cambridge or North Cambridge or West Cambridge, those are all very different places.
Mm-hmm.
And learning the streets and understanding that is going to be very important, because someone who's new, who may want to speak to the area, and they're working with a client who's lived in Cambridge for 7 years, well, you have to learn and know your stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that will be the decision of whether they decide to work with someone else or work with you. And really, the beginning process can sometimes be a little bit of fake it until you make it. I mean, I had to really prepare myself and absorb and learn as much as I could, so I could speak to the locations that I was selling in. And that's such a priority. I would never want to walk into something where I felt like I was misguiding a person in a very big investment in their life.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so if we go back, you said something about like you want to stand, because a lot real estate agent. So now when you come for I keep saying pizza is like all pizza is the same, but how you pizza is different from all the. So you have to have something to build something for you unique. So what's the unique when you build your business, when you open your agency? Say, you know what, we gotta have a mission, we gotta have vision, we gotta have different view to do stuff. Did you do something like this?
The first idea I had, because when I think of Cambridge, it's a very green, they're trying to reduce emissions. It's a pro cycling community. I thought, how about we do marketing pieces where you deliver paper where you can actually replant it? And they have these like beautiful types of paper material. I did get very creative in the beginning, and I still do. I wanted to set myself apart and show my personality and my attitude in my marketing. Therefore, if you look at the stuff that I do now, people will look at it and say, that doesn't say real estate. And maybe that's the purpose. Maybe it's to say real estate can be very stressful, especially when you're in the market of Cambridge. How can we make this lighter? How can we make it more fun? Right? My next 2 ads are No Place Like Home by Dorothy,
Yeah.
and then I'm doing a Star Trek
Amazing.
one.
Amazing.
They're really different.
Yeah.
But I see that it's people are having fun with it. Our clients love to see.
And it
this
probably
funny
pulls in
ad.
the right kind of clientele because it's, you want clientele that are going to enjoy. I mean, the whole 90% of your clients and somebody working with you is a relationship, right? So part of that is you want them to know who you are, you want them to know your personality and how you approach things and stuff. So I would imagine that just plays into the whole point of getting the right type of clientele to come in and meet with you and work with you.
Definitely. I want someone who enjoys working with me as much as I do them, right? And that makes an introduction to, some people may not like it, and that's okay. But I know that in general, the people who it speaks to are the demographic that maybe are meant for me. There's an agent for everyone.
Yeah,
You see, I truly we believe in this because even the agency Baby Gang, even our name, why it's very unique name, because we're trying to be we're not for everybody. Like even the Baby, the whole idea behind the Baby Spice Hot. Because I think this is what a lot of people would make mistake in the
spicy.
business. They jump in the business, they want to capture everybody. I think this is really the mistake. They're trying to make everybody happy. They're trying the message to fit everybody. But for example, for us, for Baby Gang, why our name is Baby Gang? Because we don't want spicy hot. This means we're not for everybody. Not everybody like us, and we don't like everybody. So I want to work seriously. We want to work with the people we like, and with people we enjoy what our ideas, and people we think we can help. I think this is a huge mistake. A lot of business people really jump, because I feel a lot of people jump in the market. They
just want to target everybody.
Everybody,
Yeah.
no segmentation. I want to work with this. I think it's smart what you're doing. So you don't want to make everybody happy, because not everybody's gonna like your ad. But a lot of people who they like your ads, they're gonna come for you directly. I like Emma. I think Emma, she's very engaging, very smart, very creative, whatever. So I want to go work with Emma. Very smart.
Yeah. So I wanna get to know Emma a little bit more. So why don't you tell us a little bit about, what's one thing that you wish people understood about you?
Ooh, that's a tricky question.
Now we start the tricky question.
Now it gets difficult.
I like to make jokes a lot, and hopefully people would realize that sometimes they're not serious.
Yeah.
Especially working in my job when you're working with the most stressful, and then everyone has different relationships with money. So I try to make that looser, but some people may interpret that the wrong way, but I just try to have fun with it and take the load off because it's stressful. Yeah. So I like to crack jokes a lot in the moment. Yeah.
That's
okay.
great.
Keep things light.
So what
like that.
one thing inspire you?
One thing that
Inspires
me. The most inspiring thing for me is someone who was not fed from a silver spoon, and someone who really started from nothing and built something amazing. That's really inspiring to me. Because I think in life, when you're kind of 5 steps behind someone who may have been offered more things at their age or in their life, or that their parents were able to give them more, then for someone to be able to surpass that just shows that sometimes when you're given unfortunate circumstances, or that you may not have everything that someone else has in life, but you can still make foundational blocks to get to their position or exceed that. Those are the building blocks, I think, that sometimes when you work harder when you come from nothing. Therefore, it's inspiring to me to see people build businesses who don't have.
I agree with that. I like that.
I think you're absolutely right, but I don't think it's about work. It's about the hunger of people, because entrepreneur and business owner, specifically the entrepreneur, and I don't think the entrepreneur coming from money, because a lot of people they come from money. But the people, a lot of people hunger.
Yeah, it's the drive.
Is the
you know?
drive. I think this what
It's
people
the drive.
say it for different
And I
people.
do think that it does give certain characteristics, though, because I think that
Hello.
it's true that there's people that everything was sort of given to them, or they it was just easy for them the entire way, and others had to really just grind through everything that they were doing to get to that same point. So I think that's very important. I think that
Both
it builds
of them
characters.
are inspiring. I'm not
It builds
saying-
character,
but
for sure.
to me, I think when I experience that or when I see that, I mean, there's work ethic on both ends. Someone may be lucky enough to have the money to build a company, and still that takes challenges and work. But
I don't say. I think lucky. See this. I love this saying. When I'm not sure who's a very famous guy, but he said something. He's very successful. He said, "The more I work harder, the more I'm getting luckier."
The luckier I get.
I
Yeah,
get.
I've
So
heard that one
I don't
before.
think it's about luck. It's about. I think it's being in the right place, meet the right people,
Making the right
speak with
decisions.
decision.
Yeah,
I think
making the right
also
decisions.
because all of us we're gonna make mistake. Listen, we fail 100,000 times in our life. But we still grab and we still put smile in our face and we say, what next? I think this is what...
Yeah, I think attitude has a lot to do with it, too.
It's
and not
attitude.
being afraid of failing.
Hello.
Yeah,
that's
and
a
just
big-
keep pushing through,
Because I've
learn
made
your
lots
mistakes.
of mistakes or been embarrassed by a decision I made. Maybe that could be in business, but it just earning that back or showing that you can still get up from that situation is
Yeah.
is inspiring.
I
Yeah,
really
I
think
think
this
so.
one from the most unique decision where people come because people when they make mistake or fail is they take responsibility and they come learn from it. I think this what make people a huge different success. Okay, what more questions?
So what are your dreams? Where do you see yourself in the future? Like, where is Emma Guardia going in her life? Like, where do you see yourself?
Oh,
in
I'm
the
staying
future.
right here. I mean, it's so interesting because I'm such a creature of habit. And I think I definitely found my place. I love Cambridge. I love New England. I love the seasons. I definitely won't change that. My sister, on the other hand, is extremely nomadic, and she wants to change places every year.
Yeah.
And it's so funny from a sibling perspective how different you can turn out, even though you had the same upbringing. My sister's into yoga and Zen, and I have a very stressful job. And she tried working with me for a year, and it was lovely, but it wasn't for her.
Yeah.
And I respected that. I said, you're not just going to do a job just because. And she really wanted to find something that she was passionate about.
Yeah.
I
What do you do
definitely-
to like relieve stress and to kind of unwind?
For relieving stress, I took on, it's hard to take on hobbies in real estate because it's so easy to be able to consume your life. It's a business that operates at all hours.
Yeah.
And my poor partners had to deal with the bulk of the late night phone calls and all of that stuff, which is, I think it takes a good partnership too, where you have a very understanding person who can realize, just like you guys, sometimes things go beyond 5 p.m. or vacations are disrupted and
Or not at all.
Vacation?
Or
What's
non-existent.
mean vacation?
what is that word?
A
What is
vacation
a-
is non-existent.
What's mean vacation? Vacation.
I don't even know what weekends are anymore.
Oh, yeah, so...
But making the time, right? Like having a week to be able to. And I didn't do that for so long. And my sister was a huge inspiration for me with that because she always said, make time, there's different types of wealth. There's emotional wealth, like having a good well-being, because you can get so burnt out from
Of course.
just the rat race of trying to keep up and being hard on yourself or being self-critical because you feel like you're not doing enough, but just taking some time to step back. And then that also helps you grow. I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is my next steps in the future is I would really like to have a business coach, someone who can really see outside of my eyes and say, these are your strengths, these are your weaknesses, because that's really the only way to help someone grow is to be able to have a support system and a team. And generally right now, me and my business partner are a small team. Sometimes real estate teams have 6-7 people. I'd love to grow to get to that point. And I think having a business, someone to be able to help support that with me would be really great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What do you do for fun, Emma?
For fun, I definitely have picked up hobbies. One huge relief of stress for me is playing the piano, playing an instrument. So I've people are shocked to learn I'm probably by far the youngest student in my piano studio where my piano teacher is generally teaching kids who are going to conservatory. They're like 6 years old, and then I come in, I'm 30 and much older, and I'm like, yeah, by the time I'm 90, I'll master this.
That's amazing.
But
do you have a favorite song that you play? Are you not quite there yet? I'm not sure how far.
I really
how far along
like
are you?
Grieg. He's like my favorite. I like the romantic era of classical music.
Yeah.
I love Rachmaninoff, which that's almost impossible to play because his finger span is like double my hand and is really challenging. But right now I'm doing Kabalevsky and some of like children's books, which are really fun because as an adult, it makes you feel like a kid again. And my teacher talks to me like I'm a kid. I'm like, I'll take it. Like, I love this. So it's been, great. If I'm stressed out, I'll have that to be able to use as an escape. I just shut my phone off. I have an hour of time for myself. And then running, it was also is and is not. I mean, COVID definitely slowed my pace with running, but in general, that was my escape is running. I was part of a running group in Davis Square, and I'm very connected to the Charles River, so could do runs there. Yeah, I had actually 2 friends from my running group run in the Boston Marathon.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this past
Very
week.
cool.
Nice. So when we go back, you talk about making mistake. How you face your mistake when you did make mistake, when you did make a failure. How you come face those? Do you come face on, or do you how you face or how you fix them?
Wait, can you repeat that question again?
So when you talk about making mistakes, how you face them, like because everybody has
like
different.
How do you handle your
how you handle your mistake, how you handle it, because everybody has different way. For people, some people they just ignore it and move ahead. Some people learn. Some people they say, what, I want to hit this on. So how you handle it?
I think
how was the best advice you give people to how to handle the mistake?
I guess that's evolved over time because when I was younger, I took criticism, or when I did something wrong, it was harder for me to own it. And that's just maybe an ego thing, right? That you don't want to take criticism or someone else's opinion.
Yeah.
But I think now as I've gotten older, when there's a mistake, you have to own it, or that does happen, and we're only human. So, whether it be something like an apology, or whether owning the mistake and confronting that person and say, like, next time this won't happen again. I think those are the best ways to be very direct and to not ignore it, because then it will just become a bigger problem in the future.
Yeah, or a bigger problem than it really even needs to be in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
So now when you're working with a partner, because I know working with a partner, like me and Stefan work together, like, obviously we husband and wife and work together, and a lot of challenges.
I love that dynamic.
There's a whole other layer of challenges.
It's a lot of challenges, but we with 24 hours together. Obviously,
Your pillow talk is about business.
Yeah, we love it. But when you work with a partner, how we deal with a partner, because those way I feel a lot of time people face the challenges.
With my personal life.
Yeah. Oh no, partner and your business life.
Partner.
Yeah.
Okay. So I always use that. People make fun of me when I'm like, oh, my partner. They're like, your business partner, or is this like your boyfriend? So wait, say that again. So my business partner.
Yeah, business partner. So how, because a lot of people I feel, especially like we had somebody actually we met with a few months ago, and the 2 partner, I felt like they were not on the same page.
Yeah, they were very disconnected.
Way disconnected. So how you stay, especially with a busy lifestyle, with how you stay in the same page, how you communicate, how.
Do you guys meet in the office often, or how do you?
We meet in the office.
Yeah.
Generally, our meetings consist of like a French baguette and some damn good prosciutto from
That sounds
Formaggi.
amazing.
My business partner's French, so like that was kind of, we always would come to the table. That was like in the beginning of when we started working together. We'd always have good food and we'd have a good time. It wasn't necessarily like a piece of paper and pen. We'd have a platter of good stuff to eat and just have fun. And I think that Roland is a young spirit, and his family's very supportive of him, and he has a very similar, like, happy-go-lucky attitude, make jokes, have fun, don't take life too seriously, and that's why it's really worked. But also, he lets me take the lead on stuff that I may want to spearhead, and doesn't really try to, go after the same thing. We're never competing with each other. We're always in synergy with each other. And he is on this, I'm on an upward trajectory of my business and he's slowing down. And it's a really nice meet in the middle type of thing where he can do things that he may enjoy more, cycling, hanging out with his grandchildren, and can rely on me to take over things that the mundane tasks that he may not want to do.
So now let's go back when we talk about partner, you talk about your boyfriend. How you separate life, business life, from personal life? Because this is a challenge where everybody face it. How
I
you
have
do
not
this?
mastered that at all.
It's really hard. It's a challenge. It's difficult. Let's put it this way.
My partner, boyfriend, is extremely successful in real estate, and he's highly intelligent, and so he is a mentor to me too. That I also get to date, which is even better.
Amazing.
But so we can be very upfront with each other and be very transparent about stuff. And he's helped me a lot too along the way. But we both are in the same business, so we don't have to explain to each other. I have to take this 9 o'clock call or things that run on different hours, which has actually made it much easier for me because relationships in the past for people who operate on a cycle where they can just have the luxury of shutting their phone off at 5. I don't have that. I have to have my phone on all the time.
Yeah.
And we both know that. It's made it much simpler. And then vacations. We work on weekends. So we can just be like, peace out. We're going to the vineyard, for 3 days during the week and be very aligned in that. Whereas my business days to me, certain days of the week can be off days for other people, So
yeah, if they have the weekend off or work a 9 to 5, it's very different than just having that flexibility. It seems like there's a lot of synergies between real estate and entrepreneurship. It's very similar, it seems, because there's a level of flexibility, but there's also a level of you are the business piece of it is constantly on. There's always something that has to be done, or there's a lot of sort of ups and downs and kind of things that come at you at different hours and things like that, that not normal business settings from a 9 to 5 setting typically occur.
Yeah, it is owning a business. It's owning it under another entity, under a brokerage. But in general, your clients are, you have to foster that relationship. You have to create a brand for yourself that's separate and makes you separate from the rest. And some people scale up their business in real estate to make a 15-person team. I'm not in a place that I've done that, but there are definitely people who have taken it to a whole other level where it's almost like they have a brokerage.
Yeah.
Is this a goal of yours? Because I heard you 6P, what you said. So what's your goal? What's your goal for your real estate agency?
My goal is to definitely, I would like to hire a team that that I can rely on to help do as a support system. Actually, second youngest brother, who is going to college, he's going to Bridgewater State, is going to be working for me this summer, which will be really interesting.
This would be fun.
It will be fun because actually I didn't get to know him that much through childhood because there was this big age gap. So getting to know him a little more through business, although
that'd be fun.
Yeah, he'll be commuting up here from Whitman, which is quite far. But he's really enthusiastic about it. And I think it will make our relationship closer, which is good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hopefully he likes to work because I'm tough. My sister would say when she worked with me, she's like, "You're hard." And I think that was a huge learning experience for me. When my sister worked on my team, she could tell me, "You're being a jerk." And I was like, okay, this is really good. This is feedback that maybe another employee would never tell me. Again, and my sister could just give it to me at face value and say, just so you know, that was the biggest learning piece of my sister working for me. She was the first person I ever hired and the first person to give me all of the feedback I'll ever need to be able to hire someone again and learn from my wrongdoings with her. That, she was able to tell me because we were siblings.
It's a totally different dynamic, I would imagine.
I mean, my sister knows the buttons to press with me, and I do with her too. So that even more, if there is a family type relationship, I admire that they're able to keep that very separate and never, and still prosper. Because with family, it's It is, like you said,
difficult.
It's harder.
It is
Yeah.
harder. So now, what advice you have to give for somebody in, let's say, want to start in real estate? What one advice you will give them?
My advice would be stay persistent. Don't give
Mhm.
up, even if it means trying to start part time. Although that can be challenging because, you have to be 100% committed to it. But some people I've seen where they could work in a nightlife industry or work opposite hours that really help to feed it until they become successful. Really, the first 2 years are the hardest part, and really hone in on a specific demographic / location, or I should say location that you want to work in. Don't spread yourself across the map, because if you're trying to do every single town, my feeling is that you'll never be able to create that referral base that you want and that knowledge of like one specific area that's going to make you a bigger asset to your clients.
And also logistically, I would imagine that's kind of a nightmare, to try to get from place to place if you're constantly going from like one side of one city to the other side of the other city on a daily basis. If you're doing showings and whatnot, it would be really difficult to do.
I mean, my ideal would be that I could commute on my Vespa or my bike to every showing.
So you drive Vespa, you talk about a few times. You
Vespa?
ride in a Vespa?
I love my Vespa. It's just...
why do I feel like that's a Cambridge thing?
Do you need license?
Cambridge is more pro bike
Bikes,
than... So
yeah.
they have a good bike infrastructure. Well,
Yeah.
that's a whole
They're building it out
other
now
discussion.
even more.
There's a lot of people on Mass Ave who are very frustrated at the bike infrastructure because it's losing customers because they're taking away parking.
Yeah.
And then there's people who are saying, well, this is reducing like emissions and like we're dealing with, people who, this is a city who's primarily basically one big college campus. It's all people who may not have vehicles and have bikes. Students don't have cars.
So
Yeah.
you drive a Vespa who they stop in that they want
Oh, I love that. I know where he's going with this.
So you want to pass the traffic light when it's the green?
Are you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're a.
I'm like the
you're a
born identity in my
You're a
Vespa.
pedestrian or you're a car.
Yeah,
I like
because-
go backwards in my Vespa. That was a joke. I'm a speed. No, it only goes 30 miles an hour. There's a regulator on it. You can't go more than 30. And my thing with the Vespa is I actually feel more safe. I feel safer on a Vespa than I do a bike.
Do you wear a helmet?
Definitely wear a
It's
helmet.
a small helmet and red. Looks like a red color or pink black color.
So my Vespa's spaghetti red.
Spaghetti
And
red.
then my helmet is black.
Black. So
Yeah.
but I guess it's red something with.
But my friend actually just sent me a disco ball helmet, which I'm buying. but that might
awesome.
also be like a cause of accidents because of the
A
glare. I don't
distraction.
know.
What is that?
Do you need to have license for it or not?
So it's not. So with motorcycles, scooters fall under the category of not needing a motorcycle
Oh,
license.
you don't need a motorcycle license.
So Emma, can you tell us a little bit about how people can get a hold of you?
I'm pretty accessible anywhere. If you go into Cambridge, the likelihood is that you'll find me maybe on my red Vespa. Through internet, you can visit www.emmaguardia.com, through text, through email. I respond quickly on all of those.
Amazing.
On all of those areas. And yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, of course.
Absolutely
Thank you.
amazing. Thank you,
Thanks.
Emma.
Thank you for listening to Founder Thought. You can find more episodes wherever you listen to podcasts or on the web at founderthought.com. Founder Thought is a production of Pepper Gang.